Okay, let's say hello to Stu and also to Jason Buttrill, and let me start here. Yesterday, the president said something I thought a little shocking in the press conference. While he was in a press conference with Pam Bondi, it was not a press conference, it was a cabinet meeting. And by the way, this press conference lasted about 2 hours, which is longer than I believe all of the cabinet meetings that Joe Biden held over 4 years, all of them combined. I think just the press conference in that cabinet room was longer. But he starts out, and one of the first questions is about Epstein and goes to Pam Bondi. And the president stops dead in tracks. And do we have the audio, please? Here's what he said.
Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the set?
Yeah, sure.
Could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration.
Okay. That seemed odd to me because he ran on Jeffrey Epstein. He ran on, I'm going to release everything. So there's a couple of ways to look at this. He feels he did release everything. There's nothing to see here. Okay. And if that is true, then quite honestly, I stand by what I said yesterday. Pam Bondi should be fired for the way she rolled this out. It was horrible. It's one of the worst rollouts of quote unquote the truth I've ever seen. Just the videotape alone. Now, she came out and she said, well, there's that 1 minute. Okay, that's fine. That 1 minute I don't think is enough to show, anything. It was edited, we thought, yesterday. And she said it comes out and every year or every day there's a reset just before midnight. I checked with, security experts. That's absolutely true. Not all systems do that, but some systems do. There's a whole bunch of things we could go down that road on, but we don't need to. But why wouldn't you say that? Why would you? How did you miss that 1 minute? Okay. Second thing, it's not pointing at the door. It shows nothing. It shows nothing. But we can nitpick for everything. I personally think we have seen a massive change in the White House and in the way this was being handled. At first, we're going to release everything, and then I have it on my desk. Then I have it on my desk, and I'm going to release it probably tomorrow. And then when that didn't happen, then it was the FBI in New York. This is all Pam Bondi. The FBI in New York is thwarting our efforts, and there are people in New York that are trying to keep this information away from us. And now there's nothing. Nobody was arrested for trying to keep information away from her. What is that? That's mass incompetence. Mass incompetence. So she should be fired. He's not going to fire her. Because I think there's also something else going on. I think, and people are like, well, that's Donald Trump. It's because his name is in it. No, it's not. If you believe Donald Trump, the guy has models hanging off of every single finger that he has. If he wants the models, he's got the models. And they're all over age. And it doesn't seem to me that he's ever shown any. I mean, just that's stupid to believe that he would be with a 15-year-old girl. Stupid. Are there people like that? Yeah, I don't think he's one of them. And he had a falling out with Jeffrey Epstein and everything else. So I just don't believe that is the deal. And I think you're wildly misguided if you do. But to each his own, I guess. Now, what do I think possibly happened? I personally believe that he was an operative. I think he was an intelligence operative. And, you can say all you want, but when you're president of the United States and the intelligence agencies come to you and sit you down and say, okay, here's what happens, Mr. President, when you release this. You have, let's just say, there wasn't 5,000 people involved. There was four. One of them was Prince Andrew. Okay? So, all right, go ahead, release that. You know what that says? That says that he was an operative working for us, and Prince Andrew was caught in this honey trap. So now the United States of America just took one of their biggest, oldest allies and roped this guy into a honey trap. For what? For what, Mr. President? For what? I don't know for what. Yeah, well, maybe we got nothing out of that. But this was a CIA operation. And it just happened to backfire on our biggest ally. Do you think the world is going to stand for that with everything else that we've done? No, I don't. Now, I don't know what decision I would make if I were president of the United States. I would hope that I would say, release it, because we have to clean it up. Not my fault. Happened years ago. We're not doing it anymore, and I'm making sure, and the only way to make sure that we disinfect is to fire all the people that were involved, make sure that it doesn't happen again, and make an example out of people. That's what I would hope I would do. That's what I would hope the president would do. But I have a feeling that he's not afraid of him being exposed. He's not afraid of him being killed by the CIA. I think he is making a decision that he believes is right for the country. But he's not going to say that. Now, why would I jump to this conclusion? Because Donald Trump is a very, very, very smart guy, and he knows how to handle the press and everything else. What did he do? Instead of saying, Pam, you blew this rolling it out. Look, America, there's nothing going on here. There's nothing going on. And I'm going to get to work, on other things, but I understand because we talked about it on the campaign trail. So I understand your interest in this, but there's nothing. Instead, what he said was, what a stupid question that is. Have you ever heard of a dumber question? With all the stuff that's going on. Pam, do you even want to answer that dumb question? Yeah, I'll take it, Mr. President. And then looking right at the reporter, I can't believe you even asked that question. What a stupid question that is. What did he just do? He made sure in that room there was only one question about Epstein. Had he not done that, there would have been follow-up questions. What Donald Trump just did was single one reporter out and say, you're going to be that stupid to ask that question. Now nobody wants to ask the follow-up question, and only a few people will. Now, I'm not a reporter. We will continue to follow this story, but I have a feeling until you have somebody like Schellenberger that are going to dedicate their whole thing to exposing this, because I do think there's stuff here. But until you have Schellenberger or somebody like that going after it and really doing, 24/7 kind of gumshoe work, I don't think you're going to find anything else. Nothing else is coming from the government. That was clear yesterday. That's all you get. That's it. It's over. Move on. I don't suggest we move on, but that's all the information we're going to get officially. Okay, now let me change to another story that has been brewing since July 4th that is really important. And as the days go on, it gets more and more important. There was an attack on July 4th on ICE. And this is looking more and more well-coordinated. And there are three stories that I want to tie together that will show you what is coming. We can talk about Epstein, and I think it's very important that we do. We can talk about Epstein, but that is only going to solve what was in the past, as well as what is still in intel. But this one is on the near horizon, and I think we need to talk about this one in depth today, so you are prepared, because I think we're on the verge of a massive change in tactics here in the United States. And I'll get to that in 60 seconds. First, let me tell you about our sponsor this half hour. It's Cozy Earth. When I leave the studio, after a 4-hour shift, I am all tuckered out, really. It's basically, it's a full body workout, When I say 4 hours, 4 hours, that's half an hour commute to the studio, then a half hour commute back. It's a full 3 hours of work. It's crazy. So all I want to do when I get home is just be into something cool and comfortable, something I can slip into. Take me away, Calgon. And I'm not talking about yoga pants, okay? I'm talking about Cozy Earth, their sheets, their pajamas, their bathrobes, everything. It's all very lightweight and breathable. It's luxurious. It's enough to make me forget I just spent the day yelling about the Federal Reserve. And not a lot can make me feel that way. I want you to go to CozyEarth.com. Look at their pajamas. Look at their sheets. They're really, really good stuff. Get cozy. Don't miss your chance to score the best-selling items at a best price they've offered, 45% off. Their temperature-regulating sheets and their apparel and everything else. Don't forget, the deal ends on July 13th. So for better sleep and a cooler summer, what's stopping you? Sleep cooler, lounge lighter, stay cozy with Cozy Earth at CozyEarth.com. CozyEarth.com. 10 seconds, station ID. Okay, it's July 4th. Let me take you back to a Prairie Earth Detention Center. Now, this is like 25 miles outside of Dallas, Texas. It's an ICE facility. And on July 4th at night, about 10 to 12 people, all in black garb, dressed really in military garb and with military gear, the flak jackets, bulletproof vests, et cetera, et cetera. 10 to 12 people come, and they start firing fireworks at the facility. Okay, then the crowd kind of breaks up a little bit. There's two people that break off to the side, and they go after these ICE vehicles, and they start, spray painting ICE pigs and everything else. That brings out the two ICE officers. Two of them come out unarmed, and they come out to try to get the guys to stop spray painting the trucks and the vans, et cetera, et cetera. When they do, snipers in the woods, unseen until now, snipers in the woods start firing at these guys. One of them is hit in the neck. Thank God he didn't die, but he's hit in the neck. They're unarmed. Then everybody scatters. What does this mean? Jason is in because we've been talking about it yesterday, and we talked about it early this morning, and this. He believes, and I do too, that this is a change now that we're going to start seeing in the future from the left, because we've got two other stories to link to this. But let's focus on this one first. Jason.
I'm just shocked that this is not getting a lot more attention in the media. But the way this attack was carried out, it shows complexity. It shows.
So wait. I read that it said that it's this was a very complex operation. It really doesn't sound like it. It sounds like you got a couple of guys in the woods, you got 10 or 15 people throwing off fireworks, and then you have some people spray painting. So what do you mean it's complex?
Like I mean, if you've ever seen like a military movie, or if you actually know military tactics, this is the kind of plan that they would actually execute. And this was not just a bunch of they are thugs, but this is not just a bunch of random people with no plan that decided to piss off the ICE facility and get some news. They had a force in reserve out in the woods concealed. They had a plan, is what it sounds like, to make a distraction. Then another plan to draw people out. The people that were in reserve waited for all of this to happen. They didn't join in, with like an anger rage mob. That's not what this was. This was a step by step plan to hurt someone. That's what this was. And if you're looking at the evolution, I know there's a lot of veterans right now that are listening and saying, wait a minute, this sounds very, very familiar. This kind of sounds like what I saw in Afghanistan. This kind of sounds like what I saw in Fallujah. Yep. And you would be right. It is.
So this is why this is so important. This has now changed towards military operations, at least military style operations. This is not just a group of, thugs that are, getting wild and then shooting things up. As Jason just said, this was a well thought out plan to draw people out. We saw this in Idaho with the fire. Start the fire, bring the firefighters up, and then be waiting for them, and then shoot them. That's a plan. And the plans are starting to go towards military or terrorist-like activity. Now, there's a second story, Stu, the USAID color revolution. Let me just remind you, USAID was a CIA front, okay? Everyone says, no, it was an aid organization and 16 million people. This is an actual story headline I read last week. 16 million people are going to die because they cut the funding for USAID. Bullcrap. USAID was started by the Kennedy administration, and it might have been started with good intent, but it was to stop the military, the CIA. He shut down one organization from the CIA that was an absolute front and said, we're going to stop that. We're going to do good with USAID. Well, the CIA just infiltrated the USAID, and they started doing the same thing. This is the group of people that started color revolutions all over the world, which was how to topple a nation. And we did it all over the world with our CIA, and everybody wants to deny it. When they cut USAID, what they did was cut the CIA. Now, listen to what's happened recently and what is happening currently.
We should note that what you just said is obviously a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Right? That is not, they didn't do any of those things.
No, of course not.
Now, separate from that, this is what they're now admitting. Some of the democracy-building experts, quote-unquote, President Donald Trump fired this year from USAID and the State Department, are now reapplying their skills and knowledge that they built up over decades to undermine Trump's power. Take it from those who worked in authoritarian countries. This is a quote from them, one of these workers, anonymous
USAID.
federal worker. We've become an authoritarian country. They were so quick to disband AID, the group that was supposedly instigates color revolutions, but they've done a very foolish thing. You just released a bunch of well-trained individuals into your population. If you just kept your offices going and had us play solitaire in the office, it might have been safer for you to keep your regime.
Now, this sounds like a patriotic aid group, doesn't it? So now what they're saying here is that they are plotting regime change in our own country. And here's what they've started to do. They're starting to do now workshops.
Yeah, they are. Let's see if I can find that part of it. Former officials reportedly told this news outlet, this is Notice, is the news outlet that reported on this.
Just want you to know, former officials of USAID.
They are holding workshops on a tactic called non-cooperation. They're building a network of government workers willing to engage in even minor acts of rebellion in the office. They're planting the seeds of what they hope could become a nationwide general strike. Some in the informal network of the Trump opponents are sharing an old CIA pamphlet with allies who still work in the government. It's called Simple Sabotage.
So your aid workers are now engaging in sabotage and color revolution, the aid workers of USAID. And you have Democrats that have been so convinced that USAID is going to starve people to death because he cut it, and now the aid workers, quote unquote, are planning revolution.
Glenn Beck.
There's a third story yet to get to. Hang on. Now, for every cyber criminal who gets caught and thrown into jail, you got to wonder how many never get caught. How many fake accounts are still out there using stolen information to apply for loans and rent apartments and file tax returns in somebody else's name? And the thing is, you don't always know it's happening to you until it's been happening for months. And this is why I recommend LifeLock. They monitor your identity across the dark web, all of the credit applications, Social Security use, and they alert you of all suspicious activity in real time. They ask you, because we've had these alerts, are you applying for, nope, that's not us. Okay, got it. And then they take care of it. They're U.S.-based restoration specialists, their teams, work to clean it all up, and they back it with $1 million in coverage for expenses and lawyers and everything else. It's not paranoia if the bad guys are really out there to get you. And in this case, they're out there to get your personal information and all of your money. LifeLock is the best preparation because the good guys don't always catch every bad guy. Protect yourself with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 40% off your first year with a promo code BECK. Call 1-800-LifeLock. 1-800-LifeLock or lifelock.com. Promo code BECK.
All of the tragedies in Texas, Mercury One is on the ground. It's mercury1.org. Donate now, mercury1.org.
Okay, I want to show you this pattern before we get to the last story of the three. First, we have the ambush of ICE on July 4th. This was a military-style operation. This is the left beginning to act like military or terrorists. Then you have the USAID, the Color Revolution people, that everybody has been duped into believing, oh, that's Donald Trump taking food. I'm so sick of these people taking food out of children's mouths because it says aid in USAID. This is a CIA operation. That's what it is. Open your frickin' eyes, people. I'm sorry, I'm speaking to a very small audience right now. I am sorry, I'm not speaking to you. It's a CIA operation. It is not Donald Trump stopping weather. It's not Donald Trump causing tornadoes and floods. It's not Donald Trump getting us into another war. It's not Donald Trump starving little children. This is an abomination to our country. Color revolutions are a thing that we all know about or should know about. We've been doing it, and it's what causes people to hate our guts. We go in and we say we know better, and our State Department and USAID goes in under the guise of aid, and we topple government after government after government. Now they announce the people in USAID now have said to the press, boy, Donald Trump sure made a mistake because he's unleashed all of us who are experts in color revolution. And so now we're going to topple this regime. That's just Donald Trump just making up. That's a right-wing conspiracy. Believe what you want. I am not fighting those people anymore. If that's what you believe, fine. Good luck with that. That's the second story. Now let me give you the third story. The third story we talked about yesterday. How now Democrat lawmakers, Democrats, are now coming out and saying they're beginning to be afraid of their own constituents because these are I'm quoting them, well-educated white people. Wow, what a racist thing to say. Well-educated white people who are now saying, we need blood. You're not doing enough. Maybe one of you should get shot so we can wake people up. We are here. We are now here at the chalkboard that I put up 12 years ago, 15 years ago. Anarchists, communists, socialists, Islamists, all these radicals will work together to destabilize and overthrow first Israel, then Europe, and then the United States. We're here. And what is coming is really not good. And everything that this government does to protect you is going to be fascistic. And it will only lead to more division. And it will only lead to more people saying, see, I told you they were fascists. At some point, this Constitution cannot hold because there's not enough people that will listen to the Constitution. There's not enough people that believe in the Bill of Rights. There's not enough people who are good enough, decent enough, God-fearing enough to actually hold this thing together. It is wholly inadequate for a religious and amoral society. A system of freedom requires you to be intelligent. It requires you to do your own homework. It requires you to know history. It requires you to think and ask critical questions. If you don't do that, if you're just spoon-fed, if you think you can just parachute into very complex questions and complex situations with no information other than what you got off of social media, you're going to lose your country. Congratulations. I hope you're happy. And you know what's great is once everything's really fallen apart and we're controlled by some foreign power, or we're all just living like Mad Max, you're going to be able to blame it on Donald Trump. Good for you. You'll be able to say, I was right. Good for you. Pay attention. I don't know how to do my job anymore. I really don't. I really don't. I try to be reasonable. I try to listen to both sides. I try to understand. Just did it with Jeffrey Epstein. Could be. Could be. Don't know. You know, it's funny. I used to do this joke when I was on tour. I think, the Christmas tour I did. And I told stories of my grandfather. And my grandfather was the greatest storyteller ever. I loved him. But he was a liar. He was a liar. I mean, he was a great storyteller, and so he could tell stories, and he could move people, and he could, and he never had a bad thought in his heart ever. He would always say, "Look, and I'll tell you a story sometime." But he would always say, "Look, they're happy, and we're happy." And I'm like, "Yeah, but Grandpa, you just kind of conned them into that." "Yeah, but they don't know that. They're happy." No. Okay. And in our family, we don't know what's true in our family history. We have no idea what's true because Grandpa would mix truth, see if this sounds familiar, mix truth with fiction. And he did it just to tell stories, just to tell great stories to the family. And so we know there are stories that are absolutely not true because Grandma would say, not true. I was there, it didn't happen. There were stories that Grandma was there and she'd say, absolutely. I was there. It happened just like that. And you can't tell the difference because they're both outrageous. And then we're left with a collection of stories in the family that Grandma, because before Grandma died, we went and asked her all these questions. Okay, is this one true? Is this one true? And there was a third category. True, not true, and could be. Don't know. Could be. That's where we are as a nation. That's true, that's not true, and could be. And we may never find out the real answer on could be. And that doesn't help anybody. But there are things that we know to be true today. We know them to be true. And those are the only things we have power over. I can't say that. Those are the only things that we should be really concentrating on. We don't have power over any of this. You think I'm going to make a difference? You think you're going to make a difference? Now, I know this sounds bad to you right now. It sounds like everything opposite of what I've said, but it's not. We have to choose the things that we really, truly have power over. And the things we really have power over is how we react to things. The only thing we really have power over is us as individuals. And that's how you save the country. Not by saying, you know what? Epstein, he was a CIA agent, which I believe. He was either CIA or he was Mossad. I don't know. But he was an intel guy. That's what I believe. But what difference does that make? What difference does that make? I can't change anything by just saying that over and over again and making that the hill I die on. We can't change anything on that. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have researchers looking into it. Doesn't mean that I don't pay attention to stories. But me just saying that over and over again makes no difference at all. What really makes a difference? What is the only thing in the world that really matters? Well, quite honestly, nothing in the world. Everything that really matters is spiritual. The only thing that will really change the world is spiritual. It's the only thing that's going to save your family. It's the only thing that's going to save our country. And it's the only thing we actually have power over. So when I'm saying I don't know how to do my job anymore, I am so sick and tired. It is clear to me. Now, I have been wrong before. And, one of my mottos now in the last 15 years has been, the only thing I'm certain of is that I'm not certain of anything. Because could be. But I've done enough homework to know, and quite honestly, I have been blessed enough to have given some foresight on some of the really bad things that are coming. I don't know when they come. I'm always wrong on timing. But look at the track record. Not my track record, his track record. It's pretty clear. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of just wasting my breath every day. What I should be doing is just focusing on spiritual things and focusing on, I try to be a better person every day. And then I do a monologue like I just did. I say this joking all the time. I don't know how I got this job. And I say this joking all the time, but I mean it today. Boy, raise your standards, America. I don't know how. I mean, this is the best you got? This show? Me? Really? That's the best you got? Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Besides our best. That's something I really want to try to do. I really want to start just saying about people, they're doing the best they can. They don't know. God forgive them. They have no idea what they're doing. They're just doing the best they can. And maybe on days like today, I'll get that in return. He's doing the best he can. All right, back in just a second. First, let me tell you about Simply Safe. One of the best ways to protect your house is to sit on the couch all day, guarding that front door. For all your work, you just eat there, you sleep there. At some point, maybe your skin can just graft with the couch. It'll be great. Never leave your post. You are the human alarm system. And things couldn't be much more perfect than that, except reality check. You got a job, you have a kid, you have lives, to lead, and you step away for, let's say, 4 minutes using the bathroom. Even if you're on that couch, something's going to go wrong. I mean, that'll be the 4 minutes. They're stalking you, they're watching you. They know, oh, he's not on the couch. We got 4 minutes. Get in, get out. Okay, this is a stupid way to live. Get Simply Safe. It is smart. It is customizable. It's home security that you control from your phone, so you don't have to be on the couch. You can be anywhere in the world. You have door sensors, glass break detectors, cameras, 24/7 monitoring team that can call police. They'll get police to your door faster than you can find your slippers because you've been on the couch for a while. It's an award-winning protection, so you can avoid living on the couch forever, although you might want to avoid that anyway, even if you have Simply Safe. But you can't guard the front door all the time. You can with Simply Safe. Claim 50% off the new system of Simply Safe with professional monitoring and get the first month free. That's simplysafe.com/Beck. There is no safe like Simply Safe. Simplysafe.com/Beck.
What you're hearing are your thoughts via the mind and mouth of Glenn Beck. More next.
Well. Let me tell you a little bit about fish oil. Yeah, fish oil. You tried these supplements. They have big results. They have people. I don't know if we can talk right now, Glenn. If we can, fish oil, like you have these people who are kind of giving you these big promises, right? Improved cholesterol, lower blood pressure, less joint pain.
I drink it on cereal.
You
just put it
Glenn,
on cereal.
I saw him this morning.
Yeah,
he put it right on his cereal.
I
don't know.
Forget the milk. Yeah. Just fish oil. I just squeeze fish into my cereal.
right. They're not even tablets with you.
No,
you take the actual fish.
I squeeze the fish.
Perhaps maybe you could try something else. Let me give you another
Beyond fish presses?
Yeah, beyond the fish presses.
Okay.
Let me give you something called krill oil. This is something it's a little bit different. It's called Native Path Antarctic Krill Oil. Changes the game. It's got omega-3s in a form that is easier for your body to absorb. It also packs a natural antioxidant that regular fish oil simply just doesn't have.
Do I have to squeeze krill or press krill?
You don't have. They're going to do all that work for you.
Me?
Yeah. However that process happens, you don't have to think about it.
Wow.
Yep. You could just use the tablet. It's going to be a lot better. If you haven't seen any major changes, if you're taking fish oil, you got to upgrade now. Let me tell you about how to get it. Right now, they got a 66% off, free 365-day money-back guarantee. But it's nativekrill.com/blaze, nativekrill.com/blaze. Check it out now.
Our subscribers are freaking out. Please don't quit. Please don't quit. I'm not going to quit. Believe me, I'm not going to quit. I'm not a quitter. I just complain all the way. But I just signed a new deal with Premier. I don't think we've even announced that, but I've renewed my radio contract. And the rest of it, it's why I'm doing what I'm doing in January. I've thought about this a long, long time. And it's... I just have to make changes because I think things are getting so serious that I need to do things differently. And so that's, I've been talking about this for the last few weeks, and I know I'm still being cryptic because I have to be cryptic now. But big changes are coming in my life, and it's all revolving around that. And so we'll tell you more about that coming January.
This is Glenn Beck.